Hello, subscribers. Welcome to another lesson day with the Genius Music. So today I'm going to talk about absolute pitch or perfect pitch versus relative pitch. Okay, so one will ask, what then is absolute pitch? Okay, it is defined as a rare ability where a musician or a person is able to identify or even sing a musical note instantly without making any reference or without an external reference point. Okay, so they go ahead and tell you this song that we are listening to is in B flat or C sharp. We don't necessarily have to press a key on the piano. Okay, so the reference point here is referring to a previous musical note head. Okay, so such people can just wake up from bed and then you ask them, hey, that sound you just heard, what key do you think it is in? And then they go ahead and just tell you, oh, it's a B, or it's in G, or it's in F sharp. So they don't need an external reference point. They don't need the instruments to help them tell the exact pitch of that sound or song. So they either tell you or you can ask them to sing a song in a particular key and without any reference note, they go straight to the major scale or whatever scale of that song and sing the song. So that is what perfect pitch is or absolute pitch is. This skill is actually considered to be a rare ability. In fact, occurring in about 1 out of 10,000 people. So it's so rare. And then how do people get it? It is argued that it is largely genetic. And the second argument in literature is that it is developed in the early years of childhood development. And when such people get the right musical training, it becomes hardwired to them. It becomes part of their genetics. And it becomes part of them for the rest of their life, where they are able to detect musical notes instantly without an external point. Okay, so to become a great musician, I'll say you don't necessarily need absolute pitch, okay, because it is so rare. And if we should go by that, then a lot of musicians will not be the musicians they are today. So what then is the option? Second option for those who don't have perfect pitch. That is where we have the relative pitch. The relative pitch here is also a musical ability. But here, the person or individual in question is able to identify the distance between two musical notes or the interval between musical notes. Okay, so how does that help? The person can tell you the notes that they are hearing based on an external note or source or reference points given to them earlier. So, all right, you give them a middle C like this, and then you go ahead and press this. Then you ask them what is the new or current note that I just pressed. With their back turned, they can then tell you that if this is a C, and then you are now pressing this, then this is an E flat. Okay, so that is relative pitch. You can just tell or make reference to the previously given reference point and measure the interval. So relative pitch is about intervals in music and measuring the tonal distance from the reference point to the new point. Okay, so let's do some practicals here. Let's look at absolute pitch from the popular star boy Jude Kofie and see how he does that on one of his YouTube videos. Let's see.
All right, Jude, I hear you have perfect pitch. Yeah. Okay, we're going to play a little game. Ready? So what is this note?
D.
What this one?
G. B flat. A flat.
Okay, what about these chords? So what if I play like this chord?
Oh, So it's an A flat major 7th.
Yeah?
Oh, so it's an F dominant 7th. Oh, so it's an F major 7th. It's an E major 7th.
What the heck? Okay, what about the...
Alright, so you see, this is a very rare ability, and then not everybody is going to have that, since it's largely genetic, and also you are expected to develop this in early childhood. So for adults, we are just out, even if the genetics could have potentially put you in that position once you reach adulthood. Empirical evidence says that you may not be able to develop absolute pitch, but there's nothing wrong with that. Relative pitch is what we are actually using all the time, and then it's most popular amongst all musicians. So how does relative pitch help them? So for instrumentalists or players, it helps you catch the key. Yes, by catching the key, what I mean is that someone takes up the microphone and starts playing. You touch your instrument, the piano for instance, you press, find the key, and play alongside the person. What you're actually doing is using your relative pitch ability. Okay, listening to theirs and finding their position, or listening to that vocalist and finding their position. It even helps in learning a song, so you listen to a song, find the key of that song on your instrument, and then you go ahead and play along, okay? Then, for vocalists, it helps you to identify your most comfortable key. It helps you to follow. So an intro is played, you listen to that intro, and then you sing right well. So when people are singing off key and or singing the wrong key, it means that they are still developing their relative pitch. This is the issue there. It means that they have not been able to measure correctly the interval or the distance between what they are hearing from the instrument and what they are singing. For directors, the advantage is that it helps you guide your choir to sing in key and in sync, or it helps you to direct your band correctly, so they are in sync and in harmony. So you are playing, someone is going off as a band director or a choir director, you need very good relative pitch to tell which singers are going off or which band players are not really in sync. That is the advantage, okay?